All right. Let's talk some entertainment here. Your entertainment news. It has been 2 months since David Ellison Skydance Corporation took control of Paramount, and the new ownership group has been busy from bringing in new talent to making big sports deals for CBS. But now the Ellisons have their sights set on another major Hollywood studio, which is Warner Brothers. And here to discuss this and more, our friend Michael Schneider, executive TV editor at Variety. Good morning, Michael. How you doing?
Good morning. Good. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thank you for being here as always. Let's start with the moves this past week. You heard me mention some of them. Warner Brothers Discovery rejected the initial Ellison bid of $20 per share to take over the company, and then Ellison is expected to counter. Why does he want to own another studio after just taking control of another one so recently?
I mean, he sees blood in the water. Warner Brothers has been in trouble for a while, and he sees an opportunity to firm up what he's doing with Paramount Skydance by picking off a major studio with a huge library. This would be big for them, and this would really, build them into a true rival to Netflix. And they have the money to do it. I think that's the most important thing. They see that they can pull this off, and I feel like they probably ultimately will.
Well, you just talked about Netflix. Let's go here. In the months since taking over Paramount, Ellison has made big moves, bringing over the Duffer Brothers from Netflix to their studio, making a rights deal with UFC, and installing Bari Weiss as the new head of CBS News. What do you make of these deals so far? It's good ones?
It's a lot of different ones, and depending on the ones, I think the Duffer deal is a fantastic one. Obviously they're huge because of Stranger Things, and that's just really their first project. They have a lot in their arsenal. They want to do a lot more movies as well, which they can't really do on the same scope at Netflix that they could do at Paramount. And also their former boss at Netflix moved over to Paramount, so that helped as well. So I think that's a good deal. The Bari Weiss situation, that's a lot more controversial. It's a lot more head scratching as well, because if the idea was that they wanted to bring in some new voices to sort of show some editorial independence, well, instead they brought in someone who's a conservative firebrand who reports directly to David Ellison and who's causing some real concerns and already really throwing some chum in the water over there. So that's questionable. And then sports are sports. UFC, that's huge. It's a lot of money that they paid for it, but I think they'll probably get their returns on that.
Yeah, sports is one of the few things that just continue to do big numbers, as you know. Let's go here. Going from Paramount up to Warner Brothers, what does David Zaslav want to do with the studio? We talked about it earlier. Does he want to avoid selling it to Ellison, or if it's the highest bid possible, if he's forced to accept it because it's the best offer?
Yeah, I mean, I think in his world, he doesn't want to sell it to Ellison. He wants to maintain some sort of control. Their plan originally was to spin the company off into two, Discovery, one company, Warner Brothers, the other, which ironically, they were separate companies until a few years ago. That merger didn't really work out. So now the plan is to put them into two buckets, and Zaslav would control Warner Brothers. But if Paramount comes and buys the entire company, there's no room for Zaslav. So that's why he's working hard to try to find new investors, maybe try to sell Warner Brothers to another company. I don't know how much interest there is, though.
Well, let's go to this one. Over at Disney, Universal, and the other major studios, how are they reacting to Ellison wanting to take over two legacy studios here in Hollywood? And would this be different than Disney's purchase of 20th Century Fox or maybe even an ESPN a while back?
I think so, only because the Disney Fox deal was the first of these mega deals. I think there were real sort of ripples through the industry because of that, and the hope that, that something like that wouldn't happen again. But for two more studios to merge, which means another major legacy studio essentially goes away, that's frightening for this entire business, and it just generally changes the competitive nature of this town, and it adds to just a lot of tension that's going on in Hollywood right now as everyone figures out where this industry is going.
They're trying to figure this out, and I'll tell you what, we'll get you out of here on this one, Michael. Let's go to this. Comcast is planning to break up NBC, Universal, and its cable channels soon. So where do we see these massive media companies going over the next 5 years? Is it more consolidating, merging? Where's the business going?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot more merging, especially under this administration, which is very friendly to these kind of deals. Also, you're seeing a lot of these companies shed the assets that no longer make sense, and that means cable in a lot of cases. Cable just isn't the darling that it once was for this industry, and that's why you see a lot of these companies starting to shed those assets, create new companies. Like you mentioned, Comcast is spinning off the new company Versant, which is launching in just a few weeks, and we'll see how they go alone as a standalone cable company.
You know, it's funny. Everyone years ago, oh, we're talking about cable this, cable that, and then the streaming world comes together, and now it almost feels like streaming is cable. It's bundles and packages and merge. It's funny how this all works out. Michael Schneider, executive TV editor at Variety. Always pleasure having you on. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.